This is the 5 tech things you should know about, brought to you by Mosey.com, and all my childhood dreams are coming back as the Commodore 64 is on its way again. Welcome to the 5 tech things you should know about. My name is Jeffrey Powers over at Geekazine.com. This show is for all you weekend warriors in tech that don't want too much information overload. Let's get into your 5 tech things you should know about for this week. Well, Blockbuster had a silent auction to sell off, well, Blockbuster. Many people did bid on it, including Carl Icahn, you know, the guy that tried the whole Microsoft Yahoo thing a couple of years ago. Very important guy in creating a business and then picking it apart and selling it. But Dish Network ended up winning on that bid, $320 million. Now, a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with Dish Network. What are they going to do with Blockbuster? Are they going to keep the brick and mortar stores open? Are they going to keep Blockbuster alive? Are they going to start creating new ways to watch Dish Network and Blockbuster on different devices like Rokus and Boxies and TiVos and stuff like that? All very good questions. We don't have the answers, but I'm guessing the first thing that Dish Network is going to do is they're going to relabel all their pay-per-views to now Blockbuster On Demand. You can get a subscription model, so instead of having to, worry about paying $4.99 a show or movie or something like that, you can just get that full subscription through Blockbuster. Pretty interesting. You can split it up, and they can actually go outside the Dish Network realm and get people their movies, their TV shows, whatever they want. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work on all the third-party, over-the-top television type stuff, if that's going to end up Blockbuster's brick-and-mortar stores, or if they're just going to use them as ways to sell out more satellite dishes. We'll find out, and we'll keep you abreast on the whole situation as it unfolds.
Check in, snack out. Just check in at the location of the billboard at Foursquare, and the dog food comes out of the dispenser automatically. Plain and simple, without being the major, and no boring voucher. From now on...
Check this out. This is a company called Granada Pet, and basically what they did was they created a sign, and you walk up to the sign, you go out and you pull out your smartphone and you check in via Foursquare, and all of a sudden the little dog dish on the bottom there fills up with food. Your dog starts eating and everybody's happy. You walk on. Pretty interesting stuff, but it also shows us how the power of social networking is really starting to go into a new direction where you can do something like, hey, I want to check in somewhere and get something for free. The best part about Foursquare, a lot of you small businesses might not know about. You can create ads. You can create specials without even having to pay a dime to Foursquare. In fact, I just worked with a business this other week. We put together a Foursquare application where if you and a buddy checked into this place, you got a free beer. Pretty cool stuff.
Our servers check every second at the Foursquare status and at the billboards. If there's a new check-in, our servers send a short message to the black box at the billboard, and the food dispenser opens for fresh Granada Pet dog food.
There's a lot more that you can do in social media and social networking that comes up with free results, getting people in, giving them something gift-wise, and everybody wins. Social networking is really starting to grow, and of course, through this ad, we can really see that. Next thing we'll probably see is maybe a little dog collar or something like that, where the dog can actually check into Foursquare. Wouldn't that be weird? Google's making a big transition, kind of a big transition, back to the old transition, new, well, whatever you want to call it. Eric Schmidt, of course, was announced that he was stepping down as CEO of Google. Larry Page, which is one of the founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, Larry Page decided, well, we'll just pick up the ball and run as CEO. Now, some of you might have heard that Larry Page was CEO at one time, and technically it was kind of true. Larry Page, Eric Schmidt, and Sergey Brin, they worked as a trifecta CEO until they finally put down a structure and Eric Schmidt became the actual CEO. So this is technically Larry Page's first run as CEO. Now, there's been a lot of things that have been happening. Some people have left because of this change and this shakeup. We'll see what happens down the road. We'll see if Google has a restructuring plan, because they are planning to restructure, though they got some people to replace and find out where they're going, what they're doing. they're making some changes. As you probably heard today, YouTube has decided to go with original programming as well as regular programming. Well, I got some news for you, YouTube. Guess what? Geekazine has been making original content for YouTube and for other players for over 3 years. And there's a lot of other content creators out there already creating original content for YouTube. If you want to shove down millions of dollars, shove it our way. We could really use it. Just saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's that time for the top 5 things that I learned this week. Number 5, there was actually a Star Wars, the musical. It was a high school production, but it was crushed by the evil George Lucas. Come to the dark side, the movies.
Not with you. Let me get it from there. Hey, come on!
Number 4, people actually get money and make a living doing this blogging thing? Oh wait, well, maybe not anymore. Sorry about that, USA Today people. You're gonna have to beg and plead just like everybody else for more views. Number 3, one of golf's most heralded events, the Masters, is this weekend. Leading the pack right now is a kid, an 18-year-old named McElroy. No, not McAvoy, who was Kevin Costner's character in Tin Cup. McElroy. Just so you know. Number 2, first rule of the Chuck E. Cheese Fight Club, don't hit the mouse. Wonder what rule number 2 is. You know. And number 1 thing I learned this week, you know, Donald Trump for president might not be that bad. And those are the top 5 things that I learned this week. All right, a friend of mine, Alex, pointed me onto this website. It's called Monkey Dish. It's for the restaurant industry. But they had a really interesting article. It was the top 50 social media companies. These are companies that use and work on social media to get their name across and to get free stuff across and to do a whole lot of other things. Now what they did was they monitored Twitter and they monitored Facebook and they put together these numbers. And here's what happened. The number one company, of course, and this is not a big surprise, was Starbucks. Starbucks had 1,228,450 followers in Twitter. They were mentioned 1,476 times on a regular basis. 51,243 tweets total, and a whole bunch of other stuff. This is a big chart. You can check this all out. It's over on monkeydish.com. You can check that out. One interesting word of note at the bottom, last on the 50, that was Red Robin, which was pretty interesting because Red Robin really came out of the gate on social networking mostly towards email blast era and not as much towards Twitter and Facebook. So Red Robin, it's time to up your game. Now, if you're a restaurant or business that really wants to push it, maybe you should take a look at what Starbucks is doing for their tweets, for their Facebook posts, and kind of rinse and repeat. You can find a lot of people will start following you, and a lot of people will be very interested in all of this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to back up now, back up often, and back up off-site with Mozy.com. That code GEEK is going to get you 15% off. 15% off that already low price. You never know when there's going to be a fire, a flood, if there's going to be a theft, if your computer's going to die, or if you get a brand new computer, you just bring it all back down and you're back to where you are. You're saving your pictures, your documents, your video, your audio, anything off-site. High encryption, best protection. They're coming out with an iPhone app. They've just announced it. You can put it on different computers. Per computer, though, they have a great deal starting at $5.99 per computer for Mozy Home. Now, you add that 15% off, using the code GEEK at checkout, and you're going to find yourself a great way to back up now, back up often, and back up off-site with Mozy.com. I am so excited, I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and the Commodore 64 likes it. Yeah, there was a company, and we talked about it a few months back on the regular show. Commodore was bought out. Of course, it exchanged hands multiple times, but now somebody's doing it, kind of doing it right. Still has a little bit of work to do. The Commodore 64 is coming back. It's going to be out there in July, and it's going to cost you only $250. Well, if you just want the computer. If you actually want like a functionality to it, like a 1 terabyte drive and a DVD recorder and a whole bunch of other extras, that's going to cost you up to $900. And it's not really the best processor out there for $900. You're getting a dual-core Atom at 1.8 gigahertz. You're getting a fair amount of RAM, and you're getting a fair amount of graphics chip. But I think it could be a lot more for a $900 price tag. Still, it's cool to have a Commodore 64 and typing along in the Commodore 64 style. Now, there was talk about if they were going to use the Commodore 64 operating system along with in a dual boot environment, so you could boot up to Commodore 64 and play Commodore 64 games or build Commodore 64 games using your old Compute magazines. We'll see what happens there. It's a cool idea. It's a great way to go retro while staying current. Although the price tag, like I said, is not that great. One more thing is those function keys aren't really function keys anymore. They're just buttons to get you to the internet, email, web, whatever you need to create hotkeys for. So, still pretty cool, and I can't wait to see the Commodore 64 next generation. Commodore VIC-20 coming. Is the Commodore PET also going to be showing up? What about the other Commodores? Maybe the whole gang, the whole group at Commodores? Oh. Of course, that's the 5 tech things you should know about. I'm not a Commodore, but I can sing you out. That's the 5 tech things you should know about. Brought to you by Geekazine.com. You also go over to TVazine.com. You can find us on Boxy and all these other great areas as well. Got any questions? Email me at geekazine@gmail.com. And of course, go to Geekazine if you want to comment there as well. For the 5 tech things you should know about, thanks a lot for watching. We will see you next week for another 5 tech things you should know about. Take care.